Welcome.
Say we've overcome, say
we've overcome the enemy.
He's defeated.
He's defeated.
He's under our feet.
He's under our feet.
Come on, say
we've overcome the enemy.
He's defeated, say he's under our feet.
He's under our feet.
Come on, we've overcome the enemy, say he's defeated.
He's defeated.
He's under our feet.
He's under our feet.
We've overcome.
What up, Gospel Diaries? Listen, I'm back at it again, and I'm in the amazing city of Phoenix, Arizona. And if you look to my left, and he's going to be on your right, we have the incomparable Mr. Darnell Davis right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm excited because we're going to delve into his Gospel Diary. But before we get started, listen, y'all, please like, share. Remember, this is content from my heart to yours. Now, we're sitting with a Grammy-nominated Stellar Award winner. Composer of all composers. I'm honored, man. Bless
man. Thank you. I'm honored, man, to even be here. So
yeah,
that's what's up.
How you doing? How you maintaining this heat?
I love the heat.
Really?
So this is perfect for me. I'm good.
It's a little bit too much. You all don't normally see me with my sleeves out, with my arms out, but we're out here in this Arizona heat, so we gotta do something. Okay?
Yeah.
Listen, man, thinking about your musical journey, man, it's so much we can delve into.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a perfect place to start here at your humble beginnings. You're from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yes.
Let's talk about your humble beginnings.
Yeah. Born and raised in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Most people want to shout out the north side, Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. I'm from the south side. Mm-hmm. I was born and raised in South Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. Grew up at a church, Emmanuel Tabernacle Church of God in Christ, Bishop Stanley Frazier, my pastor. And, that's why everything started there. Mm-hmm. It all started there. All the drums, but, we all little boys want to play drums. You know how that is, But I started playing the organ. I was 10 years old. Mm-hmm. One Sunday morning, I had never played before. Wouldn't even think of it. I was trying to play drums. Mm-hmm. And one Sunday morning, they was dancing and shouting and all that. And I had this unction to play. And I went over and asked the organist, I said, can I play? He said, all right. He moved over. And I started playing while they were shouting. Wow. It just happened. God anointed it from that moment.
That's amazing that you was embraced at an early age because, unfortunately, like in certain denominations, like they really do not embrace young musicians, especially like the Pentecostal churches. They quote unquote, you have to have the Holy Ghost or whatever the case may be. And sometimes it pushes people away from the church, but I'm glad that you were embraced at that early age.
Yeah, they embraced me. They even bought probably the next couple of Sundays after that. They bought me a keyboard.
What?
All that. Yeah. They really helped. So that church, that's my foundation. My family, my grandparents, used to have all kind of gospel music in the house, from quartet to choir music to whatever. They had it. Plus my mother, she was over the children's choir at the church. So she directed, my aunt direct. My grandfather and his brothers actually had a quartet group. So it was part of me.
So as it relates to getting your foot wet in the industry, working with professional groups, how did that start?
So, I was working with a choir. Well, first, before Excelsior, there was a group called MGS, Minneapolis Gospel Sound. But before them was James Greer and Company.
Really?
So I started playing with James Greer and Company first. I was 14 years old. I was playing with James, and to this day, still playing with James, still the music director, and still do writing and producing and all that stuff for the company for James. But I started when I was 14. Then I started playing with this group. My godfather, his name is Chico Cockrell. He's actually from Gary, Indiana.
Really?
And moved to Minnesota, and they started him and Billy Steele. of the Steele family, they started a group called Minneapolis Gospel Sound. It was probably them and probably 3 other people. Mm-hmm. They started a group called Minneapolis Gospel Sound, and I started playing for them. Now they were pretty much in, doing stuff in the industry in the city. They had done stuff for Prince. They had done stuff for Sounds of Blackness and all that. I was just 14 coming on, about 14, 15 coming on, playing with them. And that was my introduction to the industry. But where it happened for me, for me as Darnell Davis, was with Excelsior.
This is an Excelsior classic, y'all. Let's go. Come on, say it. Come on, it's my time. Come on, say it. Yeah, come on, it's my time, say it.
And that happened because I got a call to do some work with the late Wayman Tisdale, bass player and basketball player.
Right, exactly.
Actually for the Phoenix Suns.
Montreal Tidwell.
Yeah, Montre.
Right,
Yep, that was his uncle. So I was doing work with him. We were working on Terrell Ramsey's project.
Right.
And I wrote a song on there called Heaven. On the project, on that song, I put Excelsior on the backgrounds. Now that's Excelsior doing the backgrounds on it. So me, Wayman Tisdale, and DOA, Derek Allen, and Donald Lawrence actually did that record. And so it produced the whole, the Terrell Ramsey record. And so because of that, Verity, which is who Terrell was signed to, was interested in the choir. They was like, who's the choir? Yeah. Who's on the background? Who's that? So Tara Griggs McGee, shout out to her. She reached out to Wayman Tisdale and a guy named Dwayne Turnage, who was the manager at the time, he was the manager for Terrell, and was like, we got to sign this choir. So they connected with me. Now they thought the choir was mine, but the choir, Excelsior wasn't mine. It was Senator Bobby Joe Champion. It was his choir. And I was just, producing, writing, and playing. Right. And so that's how we got signed into the industry. And then we had a project out called Proclamations that we put out locally in Minneapolis that the world knows as God at Work. We just changed the cover, added a couple of songs, and Verity put it out. One of the good things about Senator Bobby Joe, I keep calling him Senator Bobby Joe because he's a senator now. And but he's an attorney as well. So going over all the stuff, paperwork and everything, he went through everything. And he had us, kept me and another person, in on the business and what to do and just different things. But there was also another guy, his name was Jack Robinson, a friend of mine, he had passed away. He also was another one who kind of schooled me on the industry and was like, read this book, read this, do this, make sure, all these different type of things. So I knew about publishing and royalties and points and percentages and all that stuff. So, I was surrounded by that, which was good. There's a couple of ways you can go about licensing it, but, reach out and then we can license the song to them to do it. That's one way. And, sadly, the other way is, you really don't have to. You can just re-record or something. But the thing is the rights of everything still will come back to me as a writer or publisher. So they don't get anything from it, but they could re-record the song without, and that was one thing Prince was talking about. I seen an interview of him where he was talking about that now, like for the writers of songs, like, now you don't have to even ask them, people can just do the songs.
I remember, when you see your favorite producer or artist in the audience of a church, you have your cassette tape. Sneak up to him like, hey, can you, trying to, get your name or get your music out.
We read credits on the project.
Absolutely.
We wanted to see who was playing, who produced, who sang, who wrote, All of that. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about when you all first found out that you all were nominated for the Grammy.
They give you 2 tickets for the show. At the time they gave us 2 tickets for the show. But I had to pay to go, of course. And I think that was made more so what they were probably talking about, just to get there.
Okay.
You know, that might have been more so what they're talking about, but yeah.
So how did you feel as a gospel artist at Madison Square Gardens? Talk about that experience.
So, first of all, I was asleep. I didn't even know about the Grammy nomination. My phone, I woke up to a plethora of phone calls and I'm going, what is going on? Right. And, they're like, congratulations, man. Congratulations. I'm like, congratulations. So the phone rang and I answered. It was, one of the choir members, she's like a sister of mine. She was like, Dar, like the Grammys. And I was like, what about it? You know, like, what are you talking about? And, she told me like the nomination. I was like, what? I'm like blown away because, you know, the Grammy, you know, Stellars is one thing.
Right.
You know, Doves is one thing. The Grammys it's like, whoa. Yeah. You know, and in me saying that, I'm not discounting or discrediting any of the, you know, the Stellars or anything like that. Not at all. But I was just like shocked, man. I'm like, wow. And to be around, like to go and be around all these people that we looked up to, like even outside of gospel, you know, just to see all of that and the experience. It was amazing. Like it was an amazing experience. I never would have thought I would have made it to the Grammys, but
what was those elements that you wanted to kind of be different from the former choir that you were working with?
Well, with Excelsior, there's a foundation there with the sound of Excelsior and Remnant. So with Excelsior, and both with Remnant, I wanted the sound to be a gumbo. Like, you know, I want to bring elements from everywhere, from Chicago, from the West Coast, from the East, from Atlanta, you know, all these sounds and combine it into one to make a sound. So that's the thing with Excelsior and Remnant. With Excelsior honestly was a lot of experimenting. We were trying a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
We was just trying stuff just to see if it worked. Let's see if this works. I want to do a rock tune, like with like these heavy choir vocals on top of it. Let's see if it works. Let's try it. And that's how we came up with Calvary. You know, we want to do a Latin thing. So like we did this whole Latin interlude that leads into Lift Him Higher. And so we were just trying stuff. So with Remnant came along, which I actually had the vision for Remnant 2 years prior to leaving Excelsior. I wanted to keep that same thing, but I want to kind of pull from another bat. Like what other elements can I add to this? Cause I wanted to make a difference between this is Remnant and this is Excelsior.
Right.
So I started pulling some different stuff. So, you know, we started adding some different elements. We sat, myself and Brian Kendrick, one of my best friends and producer partners. We did Excelsior, but we started doing Remnant as well. We were like, we got to come up with a sound and what that, you know, and I want to keep the big sound, vocal, gospel sound, but I wanted to add some different music elements to it.
Because when you think about it, you think about Psalms of Remnant, right?
Yep.
And then you think about, cause if I'm not mistaken, the next one was Moving Forward, right?
The next one actually it's a record called No Compromise.
So I've never seen that. What year was that?
So No Compromise came out 2008.
Okay. So the first one was 06.
Yep.
And then 08 and then 14.
So 08 and then actually 2011 was an album called Refocused.
Where's this music at, man?
So we put out a record called Refocused.
Okay.
Which we took songs from Refocused and put them on Moving Forward.
Oh.
So In Love With You, I'll Let Nothing, We Got the Victory, like all of those things were all added on to Moving Forward. Now, the other piece of moving forward was actually a live project that I recorded, that we were getting ready to put out. And then RCA, came along and we signed with RCA. And so we just combined some of that live project and some of those songs from Refocus. And that's how you got moving forward.
Remember,
Or where would I be?
where would I be? At the end of the song, this Hammond organ is blazing.
Yeah.
Who in the world is that playing?
That's my brother.
Okay.
That's my brother, Mike Burrell. That's Michael Burrell.
You live in LA now?
LA, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mike Burrell, right? He's my MD right now for the group. We've been rocking together since 2016. Just people handling their business. I tell this story. We did a tour. We was doing an East Coast run, and we did a Friday, so it was like a weekend thing, and we did one church that Friday night. Everything was great. Business was good. They didn't tell us there was a tropical storm going on out there that weekend. So nobody said, hey, you probably shouldn't come. There's a tropical storm. And we didn't get any, alerts or on the news. So anyways, we were out there, and I'm telling this story for a reason. We were out there, and, so all the rest of the engagements were canceled. Rightfully so. It's a tropical storm. So there was an event going on that wasn't as deep in that, where it wasn't being affected by the storm. And they knew we were in town. So they asked us to come. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Let me think about it. They were like, no, we got you. We're going to take care of you. Don't worry about nothing. So I'm like, okay, cool. We're out here. So we get out there, man, get to the church, go, we sing, we minister, God moves. We even sold into the church. And he was like, I got you, man. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. Man, this brother sent me $100.
Jesus.
$100. Not $1,000. Not $10,000. $100. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
What year was this? Because
sadly,
you can give them a pass if we're talking like maybe 15, 20 years. Maybe?
Sadly, this was last year. This was 2023.
No, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
This was 2023. This was last year.
Oh wow.
So it's handling the business and knowing what's right. My thing is this: just say, hey, look, I got $100 for you. Could y'all come? I know you in town. Could you come? At least let me make the decision to say I will come for that.
Right.
Or whatever, whatever the case is, but just having, those are some of the downsides. And also, some of the, how shall I say it? Like everything, I'm the type of person that's like this. If we become cool and we met in the industry and in business, we cool, then I'm looking at it like the business is one aspect, but we cool.
Right. Yeah.
After the business is done, then it's almost like the friendship is over. Like I got a challenge with that. You know what I'm saying? I got a problem with that. It's like, yeah, I understand business is business and friendship is friendship. But if we become friends because of the business, once the business is done, that don't mean that we not friends no more.
Exactly.
That'd be a challenge for me, So I've experienced that. Now that's just me. Some people may see it differently, but that's the thing. So my circle is very small because I rock with those people who rock with me. It's interesting to me that we don't worry about paying our doctor. We don't worry about paying the electric company. We don't worry about paying all these other people for a service, right? For something that they do. The mechanic, we don't worry about paying them if something go wrong with the car. But the moment you come, when it comes to an artist and specifically a gospel artist, and then you say, well, this is supposed to be, this is just supposed to be, you're supposed to do this as a reasonable service unto the Lord, The Bible tells us that a workman is worthy of hire. And if I'm someone who has put in the work and the time and have degrees and all these different things to do what I do, why is it a problem of you paying me to do what they asked me to come and do? Now, again, ministry is ministry. Now, have there been times where people were like, man, I can't pay you what your fee is, and we felt led to still go? Absolutely. But that's a discernment or thing that's on us. It's not like you get to dictate to me what my price is or what we charge to come to your thing to do what we do. Yeah. Anybody that's saying that is, I don't think they have a full understanding of this whole thing. Cause they'll, what's even worse is like, they'll do that to you if you live in the same city that you're in, but then they'll bring in these artists from out of town and pay them
sorts of dollars.
I mean, I've had people say, yeah, man, we don't really got nothing for you, man, but we're doing this, and this such and such artist is coming. Yeah, man, I had to pay them like $10,000, man. So, I mean, but we want y'all to be on the show with them. So you mean to tell me you came up with $10,000 for them, plus flight, hotel, whatever other expenses are there. You came up with all that and you couldn't pay us?
If you can elaborate a little bit more on your perspective and your heart of gospel music, man.
Man, I really believe that gospel music has been the soundtrack to every scenario or situation in life. With gospel music and gospel artists, our music should be something that is always a light, that always points people to Christ, and always makes it to where it always should give hope. It should always inspire. It should always uplift. Always, no matter what you're writing about. Even if you're writing a song that deals with love, it should point to Christ. It should inspire. It should encourage people to love. All these things. So that's my thing. That's how I look at it. And what's funny about what is even talking about this now? We just did a thing yesterday. Saturday. This past Saturday at the U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, where the Vikings play. And the group sang, all these acts that sang, all these artists were saying they were great and amazing. One of the workers who was working at the stadium, as soon as we got off stage, walked over to me and he told me, he said, I just wanted to tell you that your music really touched me. It really connected to me because he said, I just had a major brain trauma. And he was like, and I recently just gave my life to the Lord. He was like, but he said, when I heard your music, he said, it just cut through. And he said, I just wanted to come over and tell you, like that connected with me, and I appreciate you for what you're doing. Like, that's the type of effect that our music needs to have, And I'm not saying that everybody's going to come up and tell you that or whatever, but people should be able to feel God in your music and feel and leave differently. A mine that I've known for over 20 something years. He moved to Minneapolis from New York, and I met him when he first came there, and we've been friends ever since. And he called me top of this year, around New Year's, and he says to me, bro, in tears on the phone, he said, bro, I know we've been knowing each other for over 20 some years, man. He said, but I listened to your music just the other day for probably the first time. And he said, bro, forgive me for that. I was like, nah, whatever. He's like, but I listened to your music for the first time. And he said, man, I'm in tears because he was in a situation where he was battling depression and thinking about committing suicide. And he said he put on the Live Again project. And he said, man, I've been listening to that project ever since. He said, and from that, I had to go back and start listening to every project you've got out.
Absolutely.
And he said, it just blessed me. He started saying lyrics. He started naming songs. And I was like, wow. He said, it touched me. It literally saved his life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like you said, man, this is something that if this is true ministry for us, and this is really a God thing, hey, look, you gotta keep going. And it don't always, people who are anointed and people who are called don't always get the pat on the back.
Right.
They don't always get that. that's why you have to be for sure and know,
Come on.
this is what I'm called to do.
What project do you feel that you are attached to the most?
Live Again.
Live Again. Why?
Yeah. Live Again, because that was the other side of coming out.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I went through a divorce. And I mean, life challenges were just was crazy. And then come out of that season, and it's titled Live Again because I literally was living again. It was on, you know, in the song Live Again, it says, get up, you have life to live. You will live again, you will smile again. This is not the end, just live.
Just live.
That's the song.
To the one and only, the living legend himself, I believe, optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm headed in the no matter, I'm going
All the way. I'm going all the way.
way.
Gary Hines, you know, Sounds of Blackness is, I'm not going to say was, but is one of our music heroes in the Twin Cities, hands down. When Sounds of Blackness came out, it was like, yeah. I mean, they made it, they put it on the map for us for inspirational and gospel, and you know, they kind of opened the door and paved the way for us. So, you know, Gary and Ann Nesby and you know, Big Jill.
To work with Ann, right?
Yeah, I did. Like I've done some production for her on a few of her projects. But yeah, the sounds, man, they were. You know, Gary Hines he's the maestro, as we call him. You know, he's the maestro. He's a genius, and you know, it's great because I've even done work with them with the sounds and done some stuff for them, and just to work with him and everything was it's just amazing. It's just great to just have him be a part of be from our city, you know, to say that we got Gary Hines and Sounds Blackness. That's us, you know.
Wow.
So we're proud of that.
You know, I say this when it's applicable. You know, like some people, they're in history because they just live. You're just in history, you just live.
Yeah.
But then you have people that are in history because they impact history. And you are impacting history.
Wow, thank you, man. Thank you, man.